Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the GuideTech podcast. Today we're doing episode number 14. I'm your host, Garrett Shackelford, and I'm joined by co-host Hunter Rung from Whiskey Slews and CEO of Mallard Bay, Logan Moe. How are y'all doing, guys?
Pretty good.
Doing well.
Good. Well, I'm glad to have y'all here, and I'm excited to talk about the topic we're going to be talking about today. It's one that I'm honestly super passionate about and care a lot about, and I think has so much potential for any outfitter that's going to be listening to this podcast. But today we're going to be talking about paid ads and then the sales process that follows that. And one of the best example you could look at, and you'll get to hear the stats and numbers, is Hunter and Whiskey Slews. These guys absolutely crush when it comes to paid ads, and then the execution that follows, which is one of the most important things. Is you're going to get leads, but it's how you execute and how you handle those leads after they come in. And it is not just black magic where you're paying money to Meta or whatever platform it is, and you're going to just make money all of a sudden. It is truly a grind after that, and learning and iterating. And we're going to get more into that. But Hunter, why don't you just go ahead? I want to hear what even got you on the idea of running paid ads, because so many outfitters, that's not a thing. It's not the traditional thing within this market. And I think you've done a great job of doing that. But what got you started in doing that?
Paid ads, it takes us all the way back to the beginning, really. When we first got started, the company was there, but clients aren't just going to find you, especially when you're a brand new company. So we were working between posting in Facebook groups, stuff like that, like getting your name out there, social media, doing all that, but it wasn't getting anywhere. You talk to some people, and whatever, but you need to go out and find the clients yourself. And so I actually started doing Facebook ads myself, and we were spending, I think one day we were spending like $20 a day, and one day I remember we really wanted to go hard, so we were spending $50 a day, really getting after it comparatively, obviously, back then. And we just ran like a standard message campaign too. It was nothing crazy. I mean, it was a guy who's literally working on a marketing degree, barely knew what I was doing. And I just I used a couple of our good videos and highlighted all the stuff we have, our lodge and all the accommodations in Nebraska and the Platte River and the mallards and all, everything all together. And we got messages, and a lot of messages. I mean, we were averaging like 57 cents or 47 cents a message. Granted, tire kickers and all of that, I mean, you're talking, we got a lot of messages that ultimately obviously never went anywhere. But
Right.
For us, the first year at least, it was if you got their phone number off of Messenger, if you got their phone number and got them on the phone, your chance of booking them, like we were seeing about 1 out of every 2 of them booking if you got them on the phone. And so the first year it was like, get them on the phone. And that was like the whole thing. And that's really how we got started into this whole thing before we met up with you guys and Nick and started doing Nick's version of paid ads.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I want to cover is, so that was Hunter's getting in there, getting his hands dirty and learning how to do it, and it worked for him. So anyone can absolutely do that. But then when he came on to doing it with GuideTech, who he's referring Nick is our head of operations, and he's getting his hands dirty running paid ads. I think last year he ran 77 different paid ads campaigns for our outfitters throughout 2023. So Hunter has been doing this for 2+ years now, and he spent thousands and thousands of dollars doing this. And at first, it was the quick and dirty way of doing it. And then there was the testing and iterating. And that's where he started to see a difference. And the biggest thing I see right now is so many outfitters that are willing to come in and think, oh, if I throw some money at this, I'm going to quickly make a return. But with what Hunter is saying is he spent thousands of dollars, and then he's finally figured out a way to make it work and what clicks with his clients. And I just want y'all to hear this number. Hunter, in the last 3 months, spent $9,000 on paid ads. I don't know any outfitter that's spending $3,000 a month on paid ads. But this man made $318,000 in bookings, which is a 3,433% ROI on his spend. And so I just want to iterate to everyone. absolutely how important it is to spend time in market, test and iterate, figure it out, actually spend some money on it because you're going to get what you pay for. And when you're not making money at the beginning, you're paying for learning, you're paying to understand. So that the next time, the next month, and you make those changes and you test, you can do exactly what Hunter's doing and actually make some money off these things. Um, but anyway, sorry, that's my rant. I'm like super passionate about this stuff. I love seeing like what Hunter started at to where he's at now. But Hunter, I want to hear kind of like some of the changes that you've done and how hands-on it is with GuideTech. Like it's not like you're just sitting there and Nick's just doing all this on his own. You're giving
Yeah.
input and you're using your thought and like you're helping test. And so I want to kind of hear what that process is like.
Well, from the beginning, like when I was doing it myself, it was almost every single day I was looking for ways to optimize it, all the way down to like changing the wording, changing one word in the ad
Mm,
in like the title or whatever. I mean, optimizing because we like to stay really low, we like being at 57 cents a message or 47 cents a message or whatever. And with Nick, it's no different, just a little bit. Obviously, there's a little more of the process there, but I talk with Nick once a week usually.
mm,
And he has ideas, I have ideas. We kind of throw bounce our ideas off of each other to kind of adjust our paid ads to get from point A to point B with the paid ads program for getting the leads for the cost we want to have. We like to see anywhere from $1 to $3 a lead, cost
mm,
wise. If you're seeing that, that's reasonable. Because what the biggest thing though is that I don't know if I touched on is when we switched over from Nick, from our ads, which were Facebook messages, to Nick's ads. Nick Riv's running a different campaign. He was running a leads ad campaign where they were pulling, where you put your name, phone number, email, and you get all that obviously in a CSV file. And we just hadn't gotten to that. We just hadn't been doing that. And
right.
strictly probably because we were uneducated. We didn't know exactly how to do that in the best way or how to collect the best leads from that. Because I ran a few of those ads and just never got good responses. But
Mm,
um, once we switched over to Nick and had him bring his expertise in and teach me a little bit, and now we kind of, like I said, now we're cohabitating together on our ads at least. It's huge difference, $1 to $3. It's $1 to $3 a phone number, and then you take the phone numbers and say, okay, well, remember what I said earlier. If you get them on the phone, one out of every two or three of them usually books. Well, obviously, when you're getting 1,200 phone numbers, that's not the case. When you're getting nowadays, there's just the pricing or whatever. It's just a lot different because, on the messenger, you're talking to them for even days, weeks on end, messaging back and forth before you finally get on the phone. But same
mm,
kind of concept with the paid or with the leads ads where you're taking the phone number and trying to make the sale then too. But it's been it's been a like a almost a 180. Like like I said, it was always about getting that phone number, and now we've got 10,000 phone numbers now at this point, probably between all of our sheets. And I mean, the key is like being able to have that access whenever you need it for marketing.
right.
Yeah. I, I have a super uh, important question, and it goes back to what you were saying earlier about the tire kickers. So many outfitters that we work with struggle with the tire kickers. Even our B2C sales team struggle with the tire kickers. How do you get over that and understand that there's money to be made there,
Mm,
and you have to go through the tire kickers to get to the money? Like, think of it as fucking buried treasure, right?
Yeah, it's you got to have some thick skin for sure. I mean, you're gonna have people that they're literally you'll look. We don't put prices on our hunts. We have, I guess, some of our ads now have some prices, but we normally don't put prices. And so a lot of tire kickers, how much does it cost or whatever? How much is this? And you're like, 2,400 for 3 days, lodging, meals, bird cleaning. Well, that's way too fucking high. And you say, okay, I'm sorry to hear that, and you hang up and you move on to the next one. But the thing is like you're gonna have guys that are gonna be mean to you. Guys are gonna yell at you. Guys are gonna, talk shit on you, be mean to you, and it's just not your problem. I mean, we get so many even hate comments just on our ads, people hating on our ads and whatever, and it's just like, man, it don't. I mean, it used to bother us all a lot, and like you get these tire kickers that would be like. They'd be, oh, I'm talking to my guys and thinking about my group and whatever, 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 and I still want to come hunt. And he just, basically at some point you just tell them to shit or get off the pot. Basically, it's like, are you going to do this? You're not going to do this, and we just ask them point blank. And honestly, we found that plus, like I said, thickening up the skin, just being able to just not don't get too attached to any one client at one time. Just understand the bigger picture side of things, and overall, it does take a lot of time and a lot of practice to like get conditioned to that kind of mindset.
Mhm. Yeah, super important.
No, for sure. And again, I hope that's something that every outfitter can grab onto. I think that's just a super common thing is like you're going to get those tire kickers in your lead forms. There's nothing you can do about it, especially on Meta or really any platform. And these days, like there's going to be people doing that. And you're going to get the spam ones that are just literally not even a real person. But it is obviously worth it. Like the numbers speak for themselves. I wanted to hear like the type of ads that you're running.
Yeah.
I know you're running them for specific hunts or maybe just a general whiskey slews. I want to hear more about specifically what you're running.
Yeah, well, right. So we target our ads like based on season. So right now, we're full for teal and dove, so we're done with that. But if we weren't full with teal and dove, we would be trying to book. We'd be running teal and dove. Next up is pheasant, so we've got a pheasant ad going, and then duck goose ad, and that's it. We don't have any like general whiskey slews ads. We have Nick has two pheasant ad sets. One's a video and one's a carousel of photos, and just highlights the pheasant hunts. And then the same thing for duck goose. We have a carousel photos, and then a really good video of mallards. We had like a big native. It's that video you took when you were here on that farm pond. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
Where like that water like 150 came in. Yeah,
yeah.
that video. We got like that video and um, the wording is more important with what we're focused on right now is like wording it to the clients and like selling the experience, selling Nebraska, selling all of that versus the video. The video is just the hook. The video is how you get them to look at it, but to get them to actually put that phone number in, we got to have some good details. So that's kind of how we've been breaking it down. And ad spend wise, we're spending like 160 a day total, 170 a day total. Now we bumped up a little bit from when we were last month and the month before. I think it's 40, 40, 40, and 40 if I'm not mistaken, on just on a day on each of those ads. So
Very cool. And then what would you say to an outfitter? We have so many outfitters that might not budget for paid ads, coming out of the season, and then they decide, that is something I want to do. Or they're just not paying attention to their budget in general. And then they don't know when to run an ad because they don't have necessarily like the capital set aside. So they're like kind of pulling ads at different times of the year. What would you say is like the most important time to be running an ad, or is it literally all year round?
we usually stop in December and January and February. We start back up in February usually, and I guess more November, December, and January. Um, so the hardest time to book clients is the month of June. Nobody gives a shit about duck hunting in June. It is like so hard because everybody's focused on fishing and the partying and Father's Day and the 4th of July coming up and all of that. But it seems like May coming out of turkey season, May is good, April's good, and obviously in season's usually good too. But after the 4th of July, I don't know what it is. It's almost like clockwork. Literally like the day after the 4th of July, it's just like something snaps. It happened last year and the year before and the year before. Every single time. We'll have a really slow June. We're going to get past the 4th of July, and then it just takes off. I mean, we had the last 2 years, our Julys have been each year, July and August have combined to be 150 and like $250,000 months for us in total bookings. Like, I mean, massive, massive. That is like the peak time to book hunts.
Well, shit, I'm counting down the hours now. I'm excited.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Man, you got me fired up post 4th of July.
Yeah.
Trust me. Grant's on the edge. Grant's sitting on the edge of his seat right now, waiting for July 5th.
Oh, that's great. Garrett, I don't know when you had planned to get into this, but I wanted to share a stat that I harped on a little bit, like at the beginning of Mallard Bay. and I think it kind of still rings true today. It's just a general sales number regarding follow-ups. So the number that I've observed is that 80% of your sales come from after the 5th follow-up, and the next 80% come after the 12th. And I don't know if you've ever heard that, but I know your follow-up process is very rigorous, and you've literally built a team around this, and I want to get into that. And so, what is your perspective on that, and why the follow-up is so important?
Yeah, I mean, well, so to like backtrack that even just a little bit further, once they get through the sales team and onto the perspective sheet, I mean, it doesn't mean much there. It's can you keep on them, keep persistency, find urgency, create need, and following up with them is crucial. I mean, we have some people that are literally they're on their 15th or 16th like phone call, and they're answering every time, and they're still talking, they're still interested. They just haven't got it done yet. But like the biggest thing is keeping constant communication with them, because the second if they text you and they say, hey, I want to book this hunt, and you don't text them back for a day, and half that day they go, oh, this guy ain't texting me back, I'm gonna go somewhere else. Or if like they're talking to the guys or getting ready to book up, or getting their group together, and they're asking questions or whatever, they call you, you don't call back within a day or two, they're gonna call somebody else. They'll be gone. And it's just so with us, it's like first of all, me like Grant and his team, they never miss a phone call. If they do, they're calling them back within 5-10 minutes of that at the absolute latest. Never miss a text message. We don't let text sit more than 10 minutes. I mean, if he will answer text while he's on the phone if he has to make sure he's getting back to him in a good enough time, and keeping that communication. And then we follow up every 5 to 12 days, just depending on like what they need. But more like 90% of the time, it's about 5 days we follow up with them.
Yeah. And then another topic is the once they say that like I need to talk to my group, I need to ask my wife, whatever it is, and there's going to have to be a follow-up phone call. One thing that you iterated in a different meeting that we were talking about this is that you are not letting them say, hey, I'll just call you back. You are telling them when you're going to call them back.
Yeah.
So can you touch on that and the importance of it?
Yeah. I mean, it's huge. So like a lot of people in life, they don't like making decisions. A lot of people don't like that kind of pressure. They don't want to have to think about that. They just want to be told what to do. And so that's what we do. I mean, we say, hey Jim, Jim say, hi, I'm gonna get my group together. I'm getting all my stuff done. Okay, all right, Jim, sounds good. I'm gonna get you a call on Monday at 4 o'clock. That work? And normally we don't even say that works. Like we normally just say, I'm gonna get you a call Monday at 4 o'clock. And if they say something like, oh, 4 o'clock's no good for me on Monday, or Monday's no good, say, all right, Tuesday at 9. How about that? And then we'll start asking and try to work our way into that. And normally, it's a little forward. It is, but it provides that decision making for them, and it shows confidence, and it shows intent from you as a salesman to your customer.
Yeah. And then another thing we had talked about is the text messaging versus calling. Can you I think naturally people will kind of like slide into the easier form of conversation where it's like, maybe I can just text them, and like texting might be easier to do instead of just getting on the phone and talking to them because they're scared of that no, they're scared of the tire kicker wasting their time, whatever that might be. But you've kind of taken a different approach. Like you prioritize a phone call and the personal relationship over the text.
Absolutely.
You still do a text, but yeah, can you explain that process and how that works?
Yeah, normally like text wise, if we call someone a new lead, if we call the new lead more than 5 times and they're not answering, we'll shoot them a text. Obviously, leaving a couple voicemails in those 5 phone calls too. And usually by then, if they don't answer, they get moved to the dead pile, that's about the only time we text, unless they like prefer to talk over text. We always do phone calls, because on a phone call, you're never waiting for a response. You're never just sitting there. you're talking like it's all real time, first of all, but then like you said, you're able to make that personable connection. You're able to like understand the personality of the person that you're talking to and adjust your sales pitch and bend your pitch to match what they need to fit their needs and show why your business is the best place for them.
I like that. I like that. But yeah, man, I guess the next thing is like that follow up on the sales side. You have a very strategic way about going about this. Like Logan was talking about the amount of touch points, but you take it a step further and say like it's not just the amount of touch points; it's a strategic way of doing these touch points at certain points of the day. So, can you explain that process that y'all do?
Yeah, so like if on perspectives, if we say, "Hey, Jim, I'm calling you at 4," and we call Jim at 4 and he doesn't answer, all right, we'll get him the next day at 9 a.m. Doesn't answer, all right, we'll try noon. Doesn't answer, all right, we'll try 2. Doesn't answer, we'll try 7 o'clock at night. I mean, we'll move around within the hours of reasonableness, obviously, to try to hit them at different points of the day because maybe they're working, maybe they're busy, whatever. I mean, we've even gone as far as we've got work phones. We've got everybody in our company has a work phone, and they obviously have different numbers. We've gone as far as calling them off of different numbers because they were dodging one number. So we called them off a different number, just straight up get the point across of, are you doing this or not? And usually when we
Right.
call them on the other number, either they get real pissed and they say, all right, we're done, which they were gone anyways, right? Or they're like, this is what I needed. I needed someone to push me into making a decision or whatever because they're avoiding making decisions or they're moving slow or whatever, and they book. We've actually had a lot of people who we've called from the other phone numbers because they wouldn't answer the main phone, and they booked. And it's funny because like there's a certain level of what I would call uh being firm, being pushy. I quote pushy because like we really aren't like that pushy, but I call it more just being firm, being stern. And then there's also like we're trying we walk that line between being stern, being firm, and not being a dick. Basically, like we don't want to like come into it. We're going for confident, but not cocky, if that makes sense.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, and I would say, one other thing is, and it's kind of going back to the stats, honestly, at the beginning, talking about the paid ad spend and stuff. Um, I think one of the reasons y'all have had so much success and that cost per lead has dropped and is staying consistent on where it's at. Because it'd be super easy to spend a whole bunch of money on it and then slowly see your lead costs going up because there's only just so much people that can fill out those forms that's interested in hunting. But I think one of the biggest things y'all done is it's not just paid ads. It is a consistent one, you're getting brand awareness in front of them by running the paid ad, them seeing it, not filling the form out. But then you're hitting with social content. You're consistently posting on social media. You're going to shows as well. You're up in the Facebook forums and they're seeing you in there. And then you're doing a damn good job at running an actual business and making clients happy. And I think that's like one thing to iterate on before we just kind of go past this and make people think like, oh, you can spend a bunch of money and you can make a whole bunch of money back after a little bit of time in testing. Like, you have to do a really good job at building a brand. And all those other things I mentioned is what you do to build a brand. And then when they are clicking on that paid ad, it is a lot cheaper and it's a lot easier to convert them on the sales side if you've already built that brand recognition and trust beforehand. And so I just wanted to cover that before we kind of just skated on past that. But yeah, Logan, I don't know if there's any topics you want to cover in the sales specific or the marketing.
Yeah. No, I think the main thing that I think was kind of like a paradigm shift for the success for you guys in paid ads was the activity tracking, right? I remember when you guys weren't even getting like the leads imported into a Google Sheet for you guys, and then all of that stuff had to be built out. What are the challenges that you experienced during that phase of like the transition to, okay, now we're going to be on our shit and track all of the activity? And then what was the result of that?
So, basically the hardest part, like we had people falling through the cracks, to be honest with you. I mean, we'd have perspectives that we would forget to call for months or weeks, not months, just weeks. We'd forget to call them because they were just not as interested and they just weren't on our priority list. And so when we were doing the Facebook messages and all of that, I mean, we were juggling 100 people at one time that we were talking to between all of us, and we couldn't get organized. Like, we couldn't get a system down. And at some point, we all sat down and was like, guys, we need to get a system down. We have to develop something to keep track of all of our perspectives, everyone who's close to booking, everybody who needs to pay, everybody who's just a perspective, everybody who we call like a tire kicker perspective. We put them on. We're like, yeah, they might call us. Or we call them will call if interested. And those are people that are like, oh, I'll get you a call if I want to book, or if I just want the flyers and all the information. I'll call you if I want something. Those kind of people, they probably won't call you back, but we put them on a perspective sheet as someone who was interested to call later if we need to. We don't usually call them back until we do follow-ups with them like after a week or two probably. But how much it's paid off, I mean, I got some numbers that I was thinking about clear to tell you guys. There's some obviously a lot of rebookings that occurred here, but the first year we spent 20 grand in ads and we made 250,000 probably ish. And then last year we spent same 20 grand in paid ads and we made 500,000. And this year we're gonna spend uh, somewhere in the probably 25 to 30, and we'll make well over 1 million. And it's not like we didn't the first 2 years especially we didn't spend any money, or we didn't spend any different money on ads. It was just strictly sales. Obviously there was a lot of rebookings involved too, but it was sales and just improvement of the marketing of the brand, like you said, being active in all those places. It creates the reputation for itself is for our company is huge. I mean, I'll walk into places like in Nebraska, walk into a gas station, talking to a guy who's duck hunting, and he knows exactly who we are, like that kind of thing. Or like when we go to shows and like Little Rock last year, so many people come up to us and they're like, "I've seen you guys all over Facebook. You guys are all over my Facebook feed." And it's like that's such a good feeling to have because it knows they might not click on it then, they might not even click on it later, they might just call you at some point, but that name is in their head. Like we have people too on our lead sheet. We remember names. We've had some people fill out our lead sheet like 6 times, and each time they either didn't book or whatever, but eventually they do. Like we had a guy that was our last group of turkey clients. The guy that came out in that group, he called us like we almost booked him 2 times for the first season and the second season. He came through our leads, first and second season, almost booked, never did, everything fell through. And this year he finally booked, came out, had a good time, rebooked, and here we are. It's just having that consistency is massive.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
And
that was great.
Yeah, definitely was. And to give people like a picture of like the power of this, especially when they're starting out or they're looking to scale up. You started your company and you spent, like you said, 20 grand in 1 year. You booked $250,000 in trips. What percent of those people, what is your rebook rate from all these people that are coming in from paid ads?
It depends on the package. Like
Okay.
a lot of turkey guys, they don't like to hunt the same spot, so that's different. But
Sure.
mainly about 80 to 85%.
That's crazy. So you can truly like build an outfitter off of this specifically. As long as you're doing things right and giving them a reason to rebook, you can build a business off of this model.
Our entire company was literally built off Facebook ads. Like Facebook and Google ads came all of our clients. Like we literally, when we started, we had a few people that like Googled us and found us a little bit of organic, organic bookings. But I mean, of the 250, I mean, maybe 30, maybe even less than that, 20 was organic bookings or from the shows or whatever. Everything else is from paid ads. And then those rebookings, all the rebookings all came from paid ads, obviously. And then you run the paid ads the next year, and it's allowed. That's what honestly what has allowed us to grow as fast as we are. Is it's, in a way we have like almost unlimited clientele options. Like we always have people to call. We always have people we can book. We always have people who are interested. I mean, the issue has really never been like we have slow times, but we've never like that's never been the big concern of the company, is finding the clients. It's taking care of the clients, respecting them, giving them the best experience, treating them right. That's why we're able to focus so hard on that. It's because we're not, you know, fighting tooth and nail to get the clients in the door in the first place.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And I think when you're handling every new lead, like, it's a hot potato, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of embracing the mindset of not, there's no such thing as too many leads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once y'all get a handle on it, it really led to a lot of growth, which I love.
Absolutely.
Go
It's
ahead,
been
Garrett,
like,
or go ahead.
I was saying, like, it's been almost like a night and day difference to just like getting from where we are, like when we started. Obviously, when we started, we had no clue how to sell. I mean, we didn't know how to sell a hunt. We didn't know how to sell anything. I mean, we don't know what we were doing. But now it's like Grant's got his game so dialed. I mean, he can call a client and he can listen to the way that client responds to him, and he can call me and be like, yeah, this guy's gonna book here in a couple weeks. And he's like, we'll have this one. I got this guy down. He'll be good. Or he'll talk to other people and he'll be like, yeah, this guy yanked my chain for an hour. He's never going to book, you know? Grant just knows these things now. He's like, we're just with as much volume as we've been doing, as much calling, all of that, it does dial you in. And that is also like really important for other outfitters to be able to do, is to be able to read clients and like understand the sales situations and how to adapt and how to honestly, how to say the right things.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that point that you made about like when we don't have to focus on, when an outfitter doesn't have to focus on getting leads because they know they have them coming in from their paid ads and they know their sales process is nailed down, they can then focus on what's most important, and that's taking care of clients and making
Mm-hmm.
sure that they're rebooking for the next year. I absolutely love that, man. That is an excellent point. Hunter, I don't know if there's any like last pieces. We're at the 30-minute mark now, guys. So I don't know if there's any like last minute pieces you want to say. Maybe if there's an outfitter on the fence about running ads, or maybe they ran ads in the past and they didn't really have the right approach. Maybe they were only throwing, $300 a month at it because that's all they could do then, or that's what they thought would do the job. I don't know if there's any comments you want to make towards that.
Biggest thing that I would tell any outfitter that's like trying to start into this whole thing is it does take some patience. It's a lot about the wording, like wording, how you're wording your ads. But then the biggest thing is the content. Like, you got to get them hooked to start reading the wording, and you know what I mean. You got to hook them to get them started with all that, and that all first is going to come from, a snappy, quick video of a bunch of ducks or a bunch of snow geese or whatever. I mean, we don't we tested 20-minute, not 22-minute videos, anywhere from 10 seconds to 2 minutes in videos. Anything over 10 seconds long, it just fizzled out. It just didn't work in the ad. People don't have that much time. People are like wanting the quick, snappy, short and sweet to the point videos. But we've found mainly too that videos are like, that is like the big thing. You gotta, if, like, for example, if you're selling like, say, West Texas lesser hunts, you got a 10-second video of 500 lessers spinning into the decoys. That's a good video to use, something like that. That is pivotal. I mean, having patience, the right content, and the right wording all at the same time is how you'll get to where we were, to where we are.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, the last point that I'll make is, your money's out there. You just got to go get it.
Yeah, literally.
And it takes money to make money. Like you got to try and experiment and try different things, and that's how you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah. Budget in for paid ads, especially if you don't have a high rebook rate, if you don't have a, if you're trying to expand to add more hunts and all of that, budgeting enough money for paid ads. I mean, we put paid ads right up there with like lodge expenses. I mean, like if we had to break down our budget on level of importance, paid ads is probably like number 3 on the whole budget. It is critical to have that spend accounted for.
Yeah, 100%. And so, I mean, just to wrap it up, Hunter, I think that was well put. Logan, you as well, man. And honestly, like if you are on the fence about running paid ads, like just reach out to Hunter and just ask him about that. Ask him about his experience. I'm sure Hunter has, not plenty of time to talk to you, but is willing to carve out time to talk to you and just kind of coach you through that, and get you across the fence on doing something like this. And I promise you, it's going to be something that's like worthwhile investing in your business to do. So, guys, if you enjoyed the podcast, if you learned something new, please go ahead, share, like, subscribe, send it to other outfitters who maybe aren't running ads. If you're running ads, or maybe it's something that just helped you as someone who's just got into running ads. But yeah, I hope it was super beneficial, and stick around for the next GuideTech podcast. We'll see you there. See you guys.